Hey, welcome to the Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Controversy, and to my right, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, Mr.
Darren Love, the most happiest person in the world.
And together, we are the Philosophy Podcast. Thank you to you guys for tuning in once again this week, guys. Thank you for tuning in to a brand new episode. And yeah, we're back at it once again this week. Hope you enjoyed this week's content, of course. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you know what I mean. If you've seen any of our previous content and you like what we do over here. So yeah, without further ado, what's on the agenda for this week, mate? What is this week's hot topic?
I thought happiness would be a really good, interesting subject. Happiness.
Happiness. So
Yeah.
this week, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about
Happiness.
happiness. It's the key to life.
I think it's the purpose of life, really, isn't
It's
it?
one of the keys to life, you know.
I think it's the purpose of life, really. I think everyone's got to learn how to be happy in life.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes too, people are reliant on other people to make them happy, or external sources, external things to make them happy. When you have to go within, you have to look within yourself. You've got to do some soul searching and find yourself.
There's a quote from Aristotle.
Aristotle.
That's it. Yeah. Sorry. See, it's funny, isn't it? You've got to laugh. But he said that happiness depends on ourselves.
Yeah.
Your
mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I've thought about happiness a lot, actually, over the years, I've not always been happy, Who is?
Yeah.
So it's really difficult to keep happy at all times, isn't it?
Mm.
It's difficult to smile all day long, do you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
And but it's interesting, happiness, because I think there's lots of elements to happiness, like comfort, for one, you've got to be comfortable, you've got to be happy with your feet, for instance, I think, and happy with yourself, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's very important to be comfortable, because you wouldn't want me to push you in some stinging nettles, would you? You wouldn't be very happy, would you?
Yeah.
And you were stuck in there, imagine, all right, and you couldn't get out because it's a ditch, and there's all stinging nettles down there, and you're trying to get out. It'd be very unpleasant, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So,
like you said, there's many different elements to happiness.
One is being comfortable, I think.
Yeah. One is being content. One is being content with your life and who you are, and understanding that just because you're here doesn't mean you're not going to get to the next point where you want to go in life. You can be content and still be ambitious. You can be happy with who you are, what you've got, what you've achieved, the life you have. But that doesn't mean that you can't be ambitious as well. So I think being content is a big part of that too. You've got to be, if you're not happy with who you are and your life, it's every day you wake up is another chance to change that, to press the reset button, so to speak, on your life. And it might take time. You might have to change your environment or your circumstances, or you might have to work to get a better degree or something, to get a better job, or whatever it is that you're aspiring to do. But you've got another 24 hours to do it, so make the most of it. Definitely.
I think, like, appreciation.
Yeah.
It's another thing, appreciating life itself.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, I've not always enjoyed myself in life, I've struggled sometimes in life, like, for instance, when I was at school, in the seniors and all that, I didn't like being there, and I felt very uncomfortable in life,
Yeah.
I think that's feeling anxious in life,
Anxiety, yeah.
Anxiety, wherever, and, I've had depression as well, But I've learned how to enjoy the moment now.
Yeah.
Now I've gone through all that, you know, all the pain that I've gone through, and you know, I mean, I've lived like nearly 50. It's nearly my 57th birthday soon, whatever, you know, and I've really learned, you know, what am I moaning about, you know, in the past in a funny way. Do you know what I mean? Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, and I am enjoying life a lot more than I ever have done. You know, and I think it does take time to become peace at mind, you know, and happy with everything, you know.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely, peace of mind does contribute. That's another thing, of course, as well. You know, that's another thing that you can add to the list of things. You know, peace of mind definitely, it plays a big factor in people being happy. You know, peace of mind means you're content. You know, you're happy with where you're at, and you know, and looking forward to the future. You know, I'm a big believer in that we create our own realities in a way. You know, it's up to us to kind of create the life that we want and the circumstances that we want. And you know, the reality is that we've all got the same 24 hours every day, and let's face the facts, most people have the same brain. Most people are equally as intelligent as the next person, you know. I think sometimes people have a misconception that when people achieve great things in life, that it means that they're always like some super level intelligent human being, and that's not always the case, you know. A lot of time it's just the average person who's just worked hard and been very determined and had a plan and stuck to it and was strategic, you know. But yeah, you know, it's, you know, we've all got the same 24 hours and the same mind, so, you know, it's up to you to create the reality that you want. You know, if you want to be truly happy with who you are, then self-acceptance is plays another role in that as well. You know, it's another important dynamic when it comes to being happy. You know, self-acceptance, accepting who you are. And again, just because you're happy with who you are and you're accepting of who you are, your flaws, your past mistakes, who you are as a person, etc. You know, your pros, your cons, etc. You know, it's, you know, you've got to be happy. You know, it's, you know, you've got to be happy with who you are and accept those things. And that doesn't mean you can't change, like I was saying either. You know, you can change even if you're happy with who you are. You can say, okay, I know that I'm really good at this, but I want to be better. You know, you know, I'm really good at X, Y, Z, but I want to be better at it. You know, it's all about, you know, you know.
You've got to be happy with your friends as well.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it's up to you.
You've got to be happy with the people around you as well, your friends.
Yeah, that plays a factor, that's another factor.
And you've got to be happy with your family, haven't you, really, you know, and everything, you know. You've got to be happy with the day, you know, and the day, I think each day belongs to you. You know, like every day I wake up, I think, well, this day belongs to me, and it's up to me to be happy in it.
Yeah.
In a kind of way, you know. So.
Up to me to choose. Yeah.
You know, we were talking about entertainment, you know, previously and things, you know, and as I say, people love being entertained, don't they? Whether it's with sex, whether it's sport, sports and entertainment, you know, and it, you know, everyone's looking for happiness, aren't they? You know what I mean? And that, you know. And some people get entertained by learning about fish or whatever, or fishing, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, I mean, I find being happy every day.
Yeah.
I just enjoy life now, you know. I never used to, you know, so much. I mean, when I was married for 13 years, it was difficult. You know, sometimes I was happy. You know, and then other days it wasn't, you know, but now I'm living on my own completely. I just find myself happy and free.
Yeah.
In a funny way, you know.
Yeah.
You know, no one to shout at or no one to shout at me in a funny way, you know. So it's quite nice, really, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've found happiness in a funny way, you know, because I've had very, very sad moments in my life, you know, very unhappy. Sometimes I've lost total happiness, you know, had everything taken away from me and that, and I think I've seen it, you know, sort of like those moments, those days that I haven't been very happy, very depressed, you know, because, you know, I couldn't see my children and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
Very difficult times, you know. And so it's, you know, I think like a lot of people go through difficult times, you know, and they find it a very difficult job to be happy in like this world we're living in, you know. Especially when the electric's going up and all that.
Yeah.
You know, it
Life's
doesn't
getting
help.
harder and harder.
Yeah, it doesn't help, you know, but at the end of the day, it's all up to you in your own mindset whether you're going to be happy or not, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
You still got to try to be happy regardless of whatever's going on around you, or you know, you still have to try your best to be happy, you know. And that's easier said than done, of course, depending on your predicament, depending on your circumstances, you know, of course, you know. We all have different lives and we all have different things we have to battle with on a daily basis, you know. You know, a lot of people are today struggling, you know, with trying to keep up with the you know, the cost of life and, you know, but yeah, you know, it's about just trying to maintain your happiness regardless of whatever. Just saying, you know what, sometimes you just have to let go and just, you know, there's an old, you know, like my old sayings, mate, you know.
Not another old saying.
Another one, mate, you know, an old saying is let go and let God. You know, let go and let God, and I kind of like that, you know, it's just that, and just letting go and believing and having faith that everything's going to be okay, and, you know, tomorrow's going to be another day and it'll be another chance to keep, you know, to keep going and, you know, keep trying to progress and keep, you know, trying to make things better, you know.
I say what's important, I think, I said it before, is keeping yourself strong.
Yeah.
In life, you know, keeping yourself stand up, you know, for yourself and all that, on your feet, you know. Don't sit down all the time, you know. You know, it's alright sitting down now and again, you know, but I just say stand up every day, you know, be positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And be happy. You know, it's tough out there and everything, you know, and the world, I don't think the world's the way anyone didn't expect the world to be like this in a way, you know.
No.
I expected it to be a lot better than this, I think, you know, everyone, you know, but it's, you know, we just have to accept the world we're living in.
I guess that's why they kind of say ignorance is bliss, and it is quite true when you're young, you know, generally speaking, it is quite true when you're young that, you know, ignorance can be bliss, because, you know, you're not aware of the hardships of life yet and what's to come, kind of thing, you know, what's expected of you, you know, once you leave school and, you know, go out into the world on your own and
the real world
and try to find your feet and get a good job and try and get your own place and, you know, transport if you need it or whatever for work or whatever, and, you know, like all those, you know, all the different feats that we all have to try and accomplish, you know, as human beings, you know, as we get older, you know. It's not easy, you know, you know, it's like, it's just life can be a balancing act, you know, especially when you're at a certain age, especially if you're married and got kids and both of you work full-time jobs, let's say, and
like a juggling.
You know, it really is, because you're working one day, next day you're with your kids, next day it's, you know, it's
just got to keep going, haven't you?
It's just like a continuous cycle, but you just, you know, you keep going and you keep your head down and, you know, you keep soldiering on, as they say, you know, just, you know, try and stay positive and just know that, just have a goal in mind, you know, don't just be working aimlessly either, just, you know, say to yourself, okay, I'm going to do this for X amount of years, and each month I'm going to save this amount of money, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to invest it, I'm going to start a business in a few months' time or something, you know, like, don't just work aimlessly either, you know, when you're working aimlessly without any goal, you know, you're not, that usually results in
dead.
Well, it kind of, yeah, it just usually results in you not really going anywhere. People just get stuck in the same cycle, and after 5 years of working as a particular type of job, they might not have like made any kind of like advancement or whatever. And if you don't want to advance, then that's absolutely fine, but if you do want to advance, then the goal obviously is to use that time wisely to find a way to advance. It's like, you might start off working, let's say you're 18 years old, just left school, and you decided you want to take some time before you went to university or whatever. If you go and work in McDonald's, let's use McDonald's for an example, you don't work in McDonald's doing the drive-through or whatever the case may be, making the food, whatever. If you're going to start off working in McDonald's, you should say to yourself, okay, in 2 to 3 years' time, I don't want to be a cook anymore, or just a server, or a cashier. 2 or 3 years' time, I maybe want to be a supervisor, or a manager, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Because in a lot of jobs, there is room for progression. You know, sometimes you have to start at the bottom, kind of at the bottom, and work your way up. But sometimes that's what it takes. You know, it just depends on how determined you are. You know. So there's some people that start at the bottom and they work their way up, and within a few years' time they've got a management position, or a position where they're earning much more money than what they were earning doing originally 2-3 years ago, and they've got a better salary, better like working routine, better working pattern, probably only doing Monday to Friday, and it's all about progression.
I just think it's just all about just keeping yourself positive, at all times. Like if you were climbing up the mountain, right, and you really, really wanted to make up the top, you'd keep climbing up, and sometimes you'd get a bit tired, so you'd have to stand still.
Yeah.
And it's hard, and your muscles are aching, sometimes you'd have to rest, whatever, and then you've got to keep going up. It's not worth giving up and going back down, and you never did it, did you? Do you know what I mean? Giving up, but you just got to keep, each day is a bit like a mountain to me, in a funny way.
Yeah.
I know that every day that goes by, I have learned something new.
Yeah.
Every day, and sometimes it rains, doesn't it, in life, it pours down, and sometimes you've not had such a good day or something, or such a good week because you've been ill or something, do you know what I mean, or
something's happened.
Yeah, but you've got to keep yourself strong and tough and keep going, keep standing up, and another good day will come, and as long as you keep learning each day, you're improving, I think, and sometimes you'll come across a bad day again, but as long as you're learning something new that day and experiencing something, better days will come in the future, I think, but you just got to keep standing up and being positive, in life, and don't give up. There's lots of things I still want to learn in life, but I've got to be patient about it, I've got to learn other things first, I think, before I can step to those other things in a funny way, But, like I think happiness is a spectrum of things, like, like say if you're happy, if your feet are hurting you, or your toes hurting you, it can completely take your complete happiness away.
Oh, for sure.
Or a toothache.
Oh, yeah, goodness. Yeah, God forbid.
Or something that's happened to your family, It's hard life, isn't it, for everyone, I think, and
lots of obstacles that come up along the way,
but let's think about sadness, right? How the feeling of sadness, how horrible it feels to be sad, and I know because I've been pretty sad sometimes in life, and the sadder you feel, the worse the feeling can feel. Sometimes you feel like you can't bear living anymore, you feel so sad, do you know what I mean? And then you take the opposite to what happiness feels like. Happiness feels like you want to live forever. That's what it feels like. It's a beautiful feeling. It's the opposite to sadness, And some people stay in the world of sadness every day.
Yeah, it's true.
They can't pull themselves out the quicksand.
No, that's it. That's
and it is quicksand. That's how I put it.
Good analogy.
Yeah, I put it like sadness is like quicksand. And you can step in it, and if you don't get yourself out of that puddle or whatever, you just go sink further and further in until you might even feel like committing suicide. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to be very careful, and you've got to keep yourself above the ground, and try to keep out the quicksand, basically,
And avoid the quicksand, definitely. Because it usually results in a downward spiral, usually, people usually end up doing something they regret, or whatever,
That's right.
Yeah. It's not easy. It's not easy, but just like you said earlier, you got to stay strong. You got to try and keep your mind strong, your body strong, everything. You just
keep positive.
And be careful. Yeah, be careful too. Also be aware of what you're consuming, and I don't mean just like on a food level, or what you're drinking kind of thing. I just mean like in general, like generally speaking, like be careful what you're watching, be careful what you're listening to, be careful what you're taking in, because all that has an effect on all of us. Everything we consume, it has an impact on our lives, or the way we think, or our thoughts, or whatever. So I think that's also, you have to be very careful in that regard too. You've got to surround yourself with positive people, positive vibes, and just have positivity around you. Don't put yourself in negative situations or negative environments where negative things could happen, or there'll be negative consequences for things happening as well that could further impact you in a negative way. So yeah, it's all about choice at the end of the day. It all boils down to choice, and got to choose to be happy. You have to choose to be happy.
It's like it's like being in bed. You can either stay in bed or get up.
Yeah.
You can either. I really believe that you choose to be happy. It's a choice. And some people sort of like, they complain all day, about this or whatever, and then they wonder why they're not happy. They're complaining all day. Give it up. Complaining up.
No appreciation.
Yeah, no appreciation. Give it all up. And start appreciating life. Because then you'll start being happy. Stop moaning about the rain. Stop moaning about whatever. And smile. You'd be peace with yourself, I think. If you're peace with the world in a kind of way.
Yeah.
If you accept the world as it is, the monster it is.
Can be.
Yeah, well, it is, and but let it be. Let whoever. Because we're all learning in this life. Like that's what I believe. I think everyone's learning. Don't matter who you are. Don't matter. It really doesn't. I just believe that everyone's learning every new day. That you. Another quote from that guy, he says that I am the wisest person in the world because I know nothing.
Yeah.
Something like that. I can't remember it quite.
What? Aristotle, yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I thought I'd better not say the name again. Because I'm not very good.
It's okay, man. No way. Yeah. But yeah, we all gotta soldier on. Just like we were saying earlier, like we talked about in our previous episode, life is the greatest blessing. And once you're alive, that should be enough to give you happiness and fulfillment anyway. You've woken up, you're awake again. Life's not for most people, life's not that bad, mate. As long as you've got a roof over your head, food in the cupboards, your bills are paid and shit, and you got a little bit of money, you really haven't got a lot to complain about. There's lots of people out there in far worse situations, having to deal with far worse shit every day. Wondering where their next meal's going to come from. How they're going to, how they're going to stop being evicted from their premises because they're late on the rent by 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, there's all kinds of problems out there.
There's people going through shit every day. Even today, there's people that have been evicted out of their houses today, as we speak. All across this country, there's been people that have been evicted today from different premises because they were struggling. They got behind on their bills, or couldn't keep up with the cost of living.
Well, personally, I think, because I don't keep up with these myself. This is the first time I've heard about it.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's the government's fault for shutting down and causing this chaos. Do you know what I mean? You know.
Yeah.
It's a bit like those banks when they crashed in 2008 or something like that. Yeah. And the people had to bail them out and all that. Do you know what I mean? It's just a lot of nonsense.
I know. It's always the people. It's always the
sense.
people that has to bail them out, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. You know, and it just it'll crack you up actually if you carry on listening to all this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like you were talking about the electric going up and they boosted some profit or something. How much profit did they make?
Well, they said something along the lines. They were saying, "Oh, by the way, come October, because the electric has just gone up again. A few months ago, they put the electric up, and it went up quite a lot, you know." And they said, "Come October, the prices are going up again," and that they estimate that every person's household across the country electric bills will be going up about £1,500 more a month.
Well, that's not going to make people happy, is it?
And they said that, that you know, and they said that they reported that they'd made like 6 billion in profit or something. One of these companies
that's going to make people
had come out and said they'd made like 6 billion in profit, and it's just like you must be crazy.
That's going to upset a lot of people.
But you can just tell we live in a very like subservient society too, because it's like so many people probably heard that same thing that I heard or watched that same video where they on the news where they announced it, and it's just like, you know, and people just ignore it and just continue going on, like no one says anything, or you know, it's like surely like we can't be the only people that think this shit. Like you're trying to tell me you've made X amount of billions in profit and you're talking about putting it up again and making life even harder for people. Like how dare you? Like it's kind of like spitting in people's face in a way, you know.
It's not making people happy, is it?
No.
You know, and this is what life's all about, isn't it? I think personally, it's the purpose of life is to be happy. You know.
Yeah.
I can't think any, you know, like when I'm feeling happy, and I'm feeling quite happy today, right now. You know, and if anyone sort of thinks of their most happiest moment in their life, you know, I can remember my most happiest moment.